Let's take a look at what's going on with
video game companies
how
have an AI
companies are
problem.
afraid.
Players don't want it. That's a headline that Jason Schreier recently ran. It does sum up what we're all thinking. Where it gets interesting, though, is this is all because of corporate reports and stuff that these companies are actually disclosing to their investors.
Yeah, I mean, just look at so many of the games that like some of right these companies are making sometimes, and no one's buying them. Literally, barely anyone's buying them.
Title also sums up what we're thinking.
Right,
We're exhausted by the slop art. Just try to buy a T-shirt on Amazon or eBay,
right?
and
Some
you'll
of
see
those games,
all of the
gone.
lazy assets, the stuff that's just from heaps of
I think I still have the list.
But Schreier here is talking about something much larger, and that is the largest game publishers on this planet. They are here admitting that players oppose this tech, that they know players oppose this tech, but obviously they still do plan to use it, and that.
Yeah, I still have the fucking list. Right? It's like, dude. Oh, well, I mean, we could probably take CDPR out now, right? I mean, we still, like, a lot of these games right, like, CDPR is still new. Ubisoft slop, well, we can change that to not allegedly anymore. South of Midnight, it's basically DEI. I mean, they had literally some sweet baby ink people in the making of the game, so. Goodbye Volcano High, streamer cow game for the figs. I'm so sorry. I just can't see. Whenever I see some people play some of these games, I'm just like, dude, you're playing it for your chat, aren't you?
That means we have a lot to talk about.
You got paid to play it by your chat, literally. You were forced to play
Jason
it.
Schreier reviewed investor documents from Take-Two and EA,
or you
and
like
Paul
it
Tassi
and you're just a weirdo.
On CD Projekt Red.
Because I don't see those as video games.
Many instances of these companies warning investors about generative AI. They said it could
cause interactive
legal and
drama
reputational harm,
slop.
that it could make consumers lose confidence in their brands, that it could hurt their financial results, and obviously
drama slop for high schoolers.
To prove all of this stuff. Just take a look at the reaction to the cheap AI slop stuff in Call of Duty. I mean, there is so much slop in Call of Duty that I can barely even register it anymore. It's got so ridiculous. Seriously,
Call of Duty.
It's a parody of itself. There's other examples too.
Yeah,
like
I mean, Call of Duty is just a satirical,
right?
It's a parody of itself now.
So these warnings make sense. Schreier's headline
all they do is
wrong.
do
Players know.
jokes now.
Every company using this tech has internal critics, and there is a read here that one may take from these earnings calls, these disclosures, that actually internal critics are warning leadership about reputational risks, about legal risks, about alienating audiences, and that they're being taken seriously. You can think about them as our people on the inside, but you shouldn't think these disclosures suggest that they're actually being listened to.
But yeah, nobody asked for these games and they made them,
just
right?
A formality. And it's a formality that's going to be
Suicide
followed
Squad,
by mass normalization, kind of through
shit.
James Earl Jones. But obviously not really. It's really on Tim Epic, the man who does appear to be driving half the damn news these days. And take a look at what else EA are warning their investors about. Tariffs, lawsuits, third-party developers, missing deadlines, natural disasters, pandemics, things that are literally called acts of God. Cybersecurity breaches. All this stuff. Do you know what those are, though? They're disclosures. And as an example, do you know those?
You mean Frankenstein that they made in a fucking lab?
Your investment may decrease in value. Or the entire comedic genre that is the American Pharma ad, where you get to see happy people dancing while you hear about horrible, horrifying side effects. Well, these are not done to sell more pills. No, those are disclosures. They're obligations. They protect companies from legal action if things go wrong. So here's what matters. These warnings actually mean the opposite. They don't mean that companies won't pursue generative AI. They mean that they will. And we know this because they're talking about it as a risk.
You know, a good person to talk to about like some of the contract laws that they might play at hand, right, with companies. What's his name? Legal Mindset, because he does a lot of right contract stuff.
Foreign investors of the potential backlash.
You might,
and if you were only planning to use it in some innocuous or basic way,
kind of
maybe
like
some
the
old-style
general
machine
outline
learning,
of what
you could
companies
sort of
kind
massage it.
of, right,
But no, they don't even
companies
try to
do.
do that. This is full-on
Especially
generative
if it's
AI as
right,
consumers understand it.
a
The only
big
question would be
company
then, will the
with
tech stay
with a
internal?
lot of
Is it all just some
stipulations and
hype to
rules
make the
and
quarterly
stuff like,
thing
right,
go up?
paperwork,
Or will it leak into player-facing products?
if you will.
Obviously, for many companies, it already has. Looking at you, Activision. But of course, Activision are Activision. They're fucking stupid and they've got what they've deserved so far with sentiment. But you know what? Tim Epic, he's a little bit more smart. If you want to get audiences on board with a new tech that's controversial, what you do is you make it fun. You don't sell someone a Prius that goes 0 to 60 in 50 seconds and gets lampooned by South Park. No, you sell them an electric car that goes 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds that you just think is fun. You create demand, you make it sexy, you make it fun. And with generative AI in video games, that is what Epic Games are in fact doing. If it's just a meme, if it's just a toy, it's not really serious. Even take image gen AI that a lot of people are extremely concerned about, and rightly so. There were earlier stages of that technology where it was just a kind of weird, broken fever dream thing that a lot of people found fun. But then that fun kind of stopped because it got altogether more serious. And that's kind of the thing. You don't feel the need to think about something too deeply when you're just engaging with something that's fun. And remember, we're talking about mass audiences here. And that's where we get to Epic Games. They rolled out their new Darth Vader NPC in Fortnite, but he's not like any normal NPC. He is a technology test. He's one that they knew would have meme potential, in my opinion.
Apparently, people have gotten him to say a lot of crazy stuff.
You inquire about sustenance, and yet speak like a common thug.
Smart move, right? It's the perfect way to get an audience on board with an AI chatbot in a way where they're actually playing with it. Why in Fortnite? Obvious. It's one of the biggest gaming platforms on Earth. Also, it's very broad. It's not catering to us, enthusiast gamers who, can be a little bit uppity. So it's millions of people, which also means whatever happens there becomes normalized in our industry, and it sets standards. Number 2 then, Fortnite is the perfect game for this type of thing. I kind of call it cultural katamari. It rolls about, consuming everything.
Basically,
It's kind of like the Borg of Star Trek, but with very vivid
Yeah,
colors and flossings.
Fortnite just tries to just throw a bunch of, right, cultural...
Vader as a follower.
Right,
Then
they
he's
do a
his,
cultural
and from now on, he will be
appropriation
your little
stuff,
chatbot friend.
basically.
He'll respond to your voice prompts.
Just
The
taking
tech
from
behind
a
it,
bunch
simple.
of
Your voice
cultures
gets
and
converted
different
to text.
video games and
Google's
just
Gemini
putting it
model
into their game.
creates a response. That text goes to 11 Labs. 11 Labs converts it into speech.
Right, they even
So if
did
you
that
ask
thing
Darth
with
Vader,
with
you can
Kamala
get
Harris,
Victor Royale.
remember?
The AI will generate advice based on your prompt, and this Vader will speak it
Yikes.
to you. But obviously, that's not how people are using it. I mean, of course. There were slurs, so many slurs. Memes, so many memes. If you want to hear legendary
a lot of
actor
slurs,
James Earl
I bet.
Jones say,
And a lot of
"Skibbity
memes,
toilet
especially
on God,
with
no
AI.
cap." Well, guess what? Now
It seems like they made him
Personally, I'm pretty sure Epic
unrestricted,
knew that it
right?
would go
Especially if he's
air
saying
quotes wrong,
slurs.
because they immediately hotfixed it, where they limited it to just Disney-approved terms. And that meant no self-harm talk, no people trafficking,
Yeah, they had to,
no non-Disney media for more than 2 lines. And that last part does prove that this is not like some weird internal Epic model that only knows, or Disney model that only knows what Vader knows. No, movie Vader is here, and somehow he knows about Goku, which he really shouldn't. Point is, it's a big generic model. I think Epic could obviously have...
Well, I mean, it's a large language model,
some of that meme material that was very off-brand. But, the memes. It sure
it's
spread.
using a large language
Here's the
model.
thing. Darth Vader is just the start. At Unreal Fest, Epic unveiled bigger plans. They're bringing chatbot tech to Fortnite's creative tools, meaning any player can use it, no voice actors needed. Tim Sweeney called it a superpower. He said that indie teams can now create characters with personality and infinite dialogue. But if you compare Sweeney's hype to the footage, well, it looks stilted, looks pointless, looks lacking in all human craft. And it exemplifies the core problem here.
Oh, was this
Many
the
people, most
NVIDIA
people don't want generative
AI
AI
generation
and they
stuff?
know about it. I mean, studies show that 70% hate it as customer support. But if you make that tech entertaining, make it fun, make it a meme, something you can play with, a toy, make it harmless, then you can change some minds. And you can slowly change the definition of normal, shift the Overton window. The cool toy disguise basically helps avoid the consumer direction. That's the reputational side, the cultural normalization side. But these companies also warned about the legal risks. They're pretty damn real, and we have to talk about them. Okay, so for this demo to work and to have the dynamics that we just talked about, it needs to be in Fortnite. It needs to have a fake Vader. That
Overton
really
window,
is Vader.
moment of
It needed
opportunity.
the real voice of James Earl
Right.
Jones, who died in September 2024.
Hitting it at the
Of course,
right
seeing the big
time.
drama iceberg this is all heading for, Epic and Jones's family prepared a statement. They said
However you
this is
wanna
what he
fucking
wanted.
say it.
And to be clear, if that's what he wanted, I completely respect that. That's fair, right? What he did is he recorded a voice library for these models. But of course, don't be confused. These aren't actual performances from him. This is a computer taking his words, reconfiguring them into a new sentence, but it's not a performance. It's extrapolating his past creativity. It is not him being newly creative.
Correct.
Now, obviously,
It's basically
James Earl
taking his
Jones is
past
dead, so he's
lines
not
that he
going to be
did for
newly
the
creative
for the
anytime soon.
movies.
It's not like we'll see
And
him
that's what
cook up
they're
some new
basing
evolved take in
his
Darth Vader.
right.
And he is absolutely in his
And
right
just
to greenlight
probably
this.
more of his
I have to imagine that
right
character meant a hell of a lot
movies
to
and
him,
all the stuff he
and
did
maybe
all
the
together.
idea that fans of that character, fans of that performance could continue to get more of him, maybe that was actually deeply meaningful to him. That's totally cool. And look, you can argue that this is one of the uses of this tech that sort of does make sense in a way, that it's kind of literally the closest thing that you could have to the real
I mean,
Vader that's possible.
look,
But there's
he-
a big problem.
He
What about
even
actors
said
who
himself
aren't
before
dead?
he
That's why
passed
the Screen
away,
Actors
right, that
Guild has
he
filed
would
a
allow
labor
it.
complaint here. They're
Right,
targeting
he- I
Epic
think-
Games.
yeah,
through
he's
subsidiary
even on
Lama
camera
Productions.
saying it.
They claim that Epic made unilateral decisions during an ongoing voice actor
And,
strike.
and then
that is
his
about
family was
replacing
like,
bargaining
yeah,
work.
sure.
And here's the thing where, in the long form, we could lose out.
I
So
mean,
here's
his
the
family
example.
was the
Scott Lawrence
final,
played
right,
Vader in Star
was the
Wars
final
games.
check to
With
say
this AI
anything
tech, that
anyways.
role just disappears. The chatbot replaces
Because he's
him.
already passed
Where it
away.
matters
I mean,
is
the
it means
only
the
next of
torch
kin that
can
they
no
can
longer
ask
be
is his
passed
family.
onto
His
a
family
new
said yes.
creative performer to push a character forward, to push acting forward. That can't happen. That is a real loss. It's the type of loss that you won't feel because you'll never see, you'll never hear what you're missing out on. As for the Guild's position, well, they actually admit they cannot stop AI voice work.
Yeah,
What they want
and the
is
SAG
newly
after
regulated
trying to like
terms. They
impose
basically want to
on
protect their members.
on an
Now,
right
they
on
did
a
say they appreciate
person
Epic
who's
working with
passed
Jones's
away,
estate.
and
That's
right
vastly
they've already
better than scraping
right
voices,
they've already
maybe
signed the
because he
papers.
technically could
They've
because of
already
some
said
agreement with
it,
Disney or
right.
whatever. But of course, in the
So it's
Guild's
like-
view, Epic shouldn't be sidestepping the union stuff that's going on. Not during.
I think
strike
SAG-AFTRA is
that
just trying to
literally
find a
about this
way to like
exact
impose
technology.
their will
So these
because
legal challenges are gonna
they
be
want to
crucial
have
here,
that
right?
power.
Because they
don't
are
wanna
the
lose
best
power.
way to protect.
They don't want to
creatives.
feel
Like, if you want to change the rules and define
shafted
the
in a
rules,
way.
that's like what courts are for, and that's why this actually does matter.
They
So
don't
here's
want
the
to
thing.
lose that
This Vader
share on
example,
trying
it's the
to
good version.
move the
Now that
industry in a
works.
certain
Now
way,
that it's
right?
profitable, how long before we see worse examples? All right, it's time to thread a needle. So, too many, the core value
Oh,
of
yeah, we can
generative
put
AI
Mind's
is
Eye
to
on the
replace
fucking-
human labor. Now, there are other reads. I mean, in a sense, you could say that by
On the-
decreasing
on
the
the-
cost of intelligence, you allow for new
on the fucked
levels
up
of
shitty
human
games.
orchestrated labor that
right now.
previously were not possible. And indeed, that's very often happened as our technology has got better and better. Indeed, though, there is a bit of a dose makes the poison thing, and as opposed to, say, the car or the plow, I think this one might actually be different. So, I guess I'll make the point that I'm not foundationally against a new bit of technology just because it's a new bit of technology. And I actually do use a lot of these tools a lot of the time. But here's the difference. I am crafting things with tools that I understand for my own job, my own craft. No one is forcing me. It is self-driven, right? I have control. Take as an example this report, what I'm doing literally right now. Notion's formatting pastes into my Elgato prompter awfully. And that just means there's a bunch of clicking and it's very annoying and the UI sucks. Well, actually a good use of a language model is reformatting some text. So with Gemini 2.5 Flash, I can nearly instantly remove all of the line breaks and format it perfectly based on rules that I've laid out. So it literally is copy paste in the prompter perfectly. That's not going to change the world, but you know what it's going to do? Remove a few paper cuts. It's the sort of thing that works from an individual up.
Yeah, the
mindset.
fact that
If
some
you think about,
right,
say,
the fact
Kaizen,
that some
the philosophy from Toyota,
right, some
the reason why
AIs
Japanese
do
cars got
formatting
absolutely flippin'
weird,
goated,
right?
you know, like through the 70s, 80s, 90s, etc.
They don't
Now,
format
the
properly
thing is,
because
right, I
they're,
know what
I
is
guess,
and is
whatever
not
they're
tasteful to me.
programming in or
Also,
whatever
control my own
is
schedule.
making
I'm
the
not
format
putting some
funky.
random, like, artificial deadline on when I have to use a tool. The reason why is
Yeah,
because to do so
basically
would
you
be
have to
fucking
reform it
stupid, unless
every
you're a CEO
time
of a huge
to make
company
sure.
that wants
Oh,
to boast
is
in
it
your
correct?
next earnings call that you're a forward-looking leader and that you have mandated all your workers move to the new thing by a given date. That's obviously bad because it's not actually craft-driven. It's not driven by the person who's actually doing the job. And this is where so many people will have found the worst of this, when your boss just says it must be done this way, in a way that doesn't really feel like a dialogue, in a way that feels like it's perhaps signaling to the market. So it's no surprise that executives would love this stuff and can pre-rationalize a lot of things. I mean, it's a software license versus payroll, insurance, benefits. Easy math, right? And when they see Epic normalizing this tech, they will be thrilled. They are not going to be looking for the new creative opportunities. They are not going to be looking for, you could say, the Steelman case of using some of this tech. They will be looking for the best way to make the next quarter look good, because that's what the system they play in optimizes for. And so now they will see a path forward because of Epic, a way to avoid the reputational risks that they warned their investors about. They can say, they're doing is just like Fortnite. We know how the executives work as well. Why
It's
would
all part of the
they pay more
plan.
for quality when they think they can get away paying less for good enough? But do you know what defines good enough?
It's okay, shareholders. Don't
define
you
good
worry.
enough. So the question then
We're
is
gonna
simple.
make our money
Will
back.
you settle for it?
Oh, there you have it. Cellular news. What the credits play. So let's take a look at what the comments say. This is such a bizarre stance to take. Our customers don't agree with our choices. Are we making a mistake? No, they must be wrong. As a small business owner, if I acted towards this to any of my customers, they would literally never set foot in my store again. Well, I mean, yeah, as a small business owner, you basically are, I wouldn't say beholden to your customers, but your relationship with your customers are much more personal, right? Because you're a small company, and you get repeat customers, basically. Are afraid of you. Good. I mean, you may get your occasional new customers that come in, but yeah, they're only coming in for like something small, right? Or just getting one thing and that's it. Shareholders, brains, new goods, must chase trend. Oh, I lost money, must be devs. Let's do layoffs. Oh, I scaled too much this way. Now I gotta lay off some employees. Sorry, see ya. AAA don't need to be afraid of me. I have no intentions of going near them. AAA industry need a huge kick in the balls. You do not need 300 mil budgets and over 1,000 people working across 3 studios over a period of 10 years for one single broken or rushed game. The blockbuster model of game making is unsustainable. Yeah. I mean, look at, look at some of the, most of the, indie games that are coming out nowadays, right? You're getting teams up of one to 2 people, right? To 5 to 8 people, right? I mean, and you're even having like 60 people teams, 80 people teams, 100 people teams, right? There's a lot of variances, right? You can have with team composition with making a video game, or just anything in general. It's just, right, the time consumption and how much resources do you have to use at that time. It's all planning. That's all it is. Glenn is right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That too. With the Larian Studios, for instance, right? His resources and plans are not like any other fucking company should do. Right. His right. That's his business plan. That's his business way of doing things. Right. And some companies can't do that. Right. Yeah, it should be used in the industry to free creatives from busy work they hate doing, like cleaning mock-up data or painstakingly rescaling skeletons or different sized creatures. Yeah. But yeah, as you can see, everyone's pretty much in agreement. Or they have something to say about it. But yeah, Bellular News, give them a like, subscribe, check them out. Why they're afraid of you, scummy publishers.